I caught my wife cheating with her boss and exposed every lie a husband's worst fear turned into his freedom. I thought I was protecting my wife from a predatory boss until I discovered she was actually protecting him. One forgotten phone, 2 messages, and my entire marriage collapsed in seconds. What followed was a storm of lies, betrayal, family secrets, and a truth so devastating it nearly broke me. But it also saved me. This isn't just a story about infidelity. It's about survival, revenge, and rebuilding a life from the ashes. Buckle up, because nothing in this marriage was what it seemed. If you'd told me a year ago that I'd be the guy who got both his wife and her boss fired, I would have laughed. I'm Noah, 34. My wife is Riley, 32. And up until a few months ago, I honestly thought we were one of those solid couples people envied. We've been together 9 years, married for 5. No kids, just a very spoiled cat named Luna and a mortgage that still scares me. I work in software, mostly from home. Riley worked in marketing at a mid-sized company downtown. She's outgoing, loud in a fun way, always the center of attention. I'm more the hoodie and headphones type. Here's the twist. This whole mess started because I thought I was protecting her. About 6 months ago, Riley came home from work looking shaken. Not the usual "my boss is annoying" thing, actually pale and restless. She dropped her bag and hugged me a little too tight. "Hey," I said, "what's wrong?" She sighed and looked at the floor. "It's my boss, Chase, 38M. He's crossing lines." My stomach clenched immediately. The guy I'd heard about was one of those cool manager types, custom sneakers, podcasts, calling everyone dude. I'd met him once at a company party. He seemed harmless, a little too charming, but nothing crazy. Now Riley was telling me he'd started making comments about her clothes, joking that she was the reason he liked coming into the office, that he'd brushed her arm, stood too close, lingered when everyone else left the room. She said she was scared of rocking the boat, but didn't feel safe. I was furious for her. I told her, "You don't ever have to put up with that. Ever. We'll figure it out." She shook her head, eyes glossy. "I just don't want to be dramatic. You know how my family is. They'd say I was overreacting. And HR never actually does anything. Her family is like that. Her mom, Dawn, is all about appearances. Don't make a scene. Life isn't fair. Just smile through it. Her dad, Walt, avoids conflict like it's contagious. Her older brother, Carson, openly calls people too sensitive if they complain about anything. Compared to them, I was determined to be the supportive husband. So, like an idiot, I stepped up. I offered, "What if I help you write an email to HR? We don't have to mention your name. Just document it. If he's doing this to you, he's probably doing it to other women too." She looked up at me like I'd hung the moon. "You'd do that?" she asked. Of course I would. We sat at the table that night, side by side, drafting a careful, detailed message. I typed while she paced and dictated, times, comments, little moments that made her uncomfortable. I was so proud of her for speaking up. I was proud of us. We sent it anonymously from a new email account. I went to bed that night thinking, I did the right thing. I protected my wife. I had no idea that same email would be the first domino. Because the truth was way darker than creepy boss harassing my wife. The truth was, my wife wasn't his victim. She was his secret. 2 weeks after sending that anonymous HR email, things started getting weird. For starters, Riley stopped complaining about Chase entirely. No more shaky hands. No more "he's making comments again." Nothing. Instead, she suddenly had praise for him. "He's actually been respectful," she said one night while we ate dinner. Like, maybe he got the message. Maybe HR talked to him. She said it too casually, too rehearsed. Then came the late nights. At first it was once a week, then twice, then 3 times. Always with some excuse. "We have a big client pitch tomorrow. The new girl messed up a presentation. Chase needs us all in the office for a brainstorm." I believed her, because why wouldn't I? I was the guy who helped her report him. She kissed me goodbye, wore new outfits to look professional, and came home smelling like unfamiliar cologne. She said it was from the new Uber driver one day. Another day, she said it was from a coworker hugging her. Another day, she said the office cleaning staff used some strong detergent. I didn't think infidelity. I thought she was stressed. But then, something exploded. One night, Riley forgot her personal phone at home. She had taken her work phone, so she didn't panic. I noticed it buzzing on the kitchen counter, but ignored it. I don't snoop. I'm not that guy. But when it buzzed again, the preview lit up. Your hair smelled amazing today. I can still feel you on me. See, my breath left my body. I stared at that preview like it was a hallucination. See, Chase. The boss she said was harassing her. The boss I helped her report. My hands were shaking, but I didn't unlock her phone. Not yet. I waited. I paced the kitchen. I felt like the walls were closing in. The phone buzzed again. Same time tomorrow? I can't stop thinking about earlier. Earlier? Earlier when? She had left the house dressed up, claiming they had a team lunch with a potential client. I remembered her being oddly nervous about her perfume, asking if it was too much. I picked up the phone, hesitated, then unlocked it. I knew her passcode. She had never hidden it. Inside was a storm. Messages, photos, audio clips. I clicked the most recent thread from Chase. The first line I saw, "You left a mark on my neck. Cover it tomorrow." My knees almost buckled. There were photos of them at a hotel bar. Selfies of him kissing her cheek. Her sitting on his lap in a dimly lit room. Voice messages, him calling her my girl, my escape, my favorite part of the day. I scrolled up and saw messages from 2 months earlier. 2 months. Meaning she lied that whole night when she said Chase was making her uncomfortable. She wasn't afraid of him. She was protecting him. My stomach turned. Then I opened one audio file, and I swear my heart cracked. Riley laughing softly, whispering, "I love how you take charge. Noah would never touch me like this." I didn't rage. I didn't cry. I froze. I stood there in our kitchen, with our wedding photos on the fridge and our cat brushing against my leg, and felt like I had stepped outside my own life. Everything blurred. I couldn't even hear my own breathing. 5 minutes later, I heard the front door unlock. Riley walked in, smiling, exhausted, carrying takeout bags. "Babe, I brought us sushi," she said. Then she saw her phone in my hand. Her smile dropped. Her face drained of color. She opened her mouth, closed it, then forced a laugh. "Oh, you found my phone. I left it here earlier. Thanks." She reached for it. I didn't hand it over. Her eyes twitched. "Noah," she said, voice too sweet, "give me my phone." I finally spoke. "I know." She froze. Her breath hitched. Her eyes widened just slightly, enough to show panic, but she masked it fast. "I don't know what you think you know," she said sharply. "Stop overreacting." I tilted the screen toward her. Her world ended right there. She whispered one word. "Oh." I said nothing. She tried again. "Noah, please, listen. Those messages aren't." I raised an eyebrow. She inhaled shakily. "Tried again. It's not what it looks like." I stared at her, emotionless. She broke. Her voice cracked. She stuttered. She swallowed hard. She looked everywhere but at me. She whispered, Okay, just let me explain. Please." Then, in one motion, she dropped to her knees. Right there in the kitchen, sushi bag still in her hands, mascara smudging, breath shaking. "Noah, I swear it isn't what you think. I messed up. It wasn't serious. It was a mistake. Please let me explain." I didn't say anything. Her lies were about to get wild, and I needed to hear every single one. Riley stayed on her knees like the floor was the only thing holding her together. Her hands were shaking so badly the takeout bag rustled, soy sauce packets rattling inside. She looked up at me with wide, glossy eyes, part fear, part guilt, part performance. "Noah," she whispered, "it wasn't real. You have to believe me. It was just a stupid thing. A stupid moment that got out of hand." I didn't respond. She took that as permission to keep spiraling. "He kissed me first. I told him no. I told him it was inappropriate. I pushed him away. I swear I did. He manipulated me. He's my boss. I didn't want to lose my job." I silently raised her phone and pressed play on an audio clip. Her voice filled the room. "Lock the door. I'm serious this time. My husband has no clue." Riley let out a small, broken gasp and covered her mouth. I didn't mean that. That was, Noah, please, that was taken out of context." I stopped the recording. She scrambled closer to me on her knees, trying to grab my hands. "Noah, listen to me. You're overreacting. It wasn't serious. I didn't love him. It was just attention, validation, a distraction. You've been so busy lately, and I felt invisible and—" "Riley," I finally said, "stop." She did. Instantly. Her breath hitched, and she stared at me like she was waiting for a sentence. "Tell me the truth," I said. "All of it." She swallowed hard. eyes darting everywhere except my face. I told him it was over, she whispered. I swear. I ended it last week. I showed her a message from 3 days ago where she wrote, I dreamt about you last night. Don't make me wait too long. She covered her face again, shaking. Noah, I'm sorry, please don't do this. Do what? I asked. Hold you accountable. Her breath caught. She switched tactics, fast. Voice soft, fragile, almost childlike. I made a mistake, she whispered. I'm only human. I didn't blink. She tried again, more desperate this time. It happened only a few times. It wasn't emotional. It didn't mean anything. It was just physical. Her phone said otherwise. I just needed to feel wanted, she said. Chase made me feel beautiful. He made me feel exciting again. I know that sounds selfish. It sounds like cheating, I said. She froze. I could see the wheels turning in her head, excuses dissolving one by one. Her voice cracked again. Noah, please. You're a good man. The best man. You've always been so kind to me. Too kind. And I ruined everything. I'm begging you, please don't leave. I need you. This time she actually crawled forward, grabbing onto my leg. Her mascara smeared onto my jeans. She whispered, I'm sorry, over and over like a broken record. But I wasn't done. How long? I asked. She hesitated. Riley. Her lips trembled. 3 months. No, I said calmly. Try again. She inhaled sharply. Tears spilled. Okay, 6. 6 months. I shook my head slightly. She broke. Fine. 9. 9 months, okay? I'm sorry. 9 months. Nearly a year. My hands went cold. And your story about him making you uncomfortable? I asked. Was that also a lie? Her face twisted. She looked at the floor. Yes, she whispered. Everything inside me hollowed. So I helped you write an HR complaint, I said slowly, against the man you were sleeping with. She winced, pressing her palms to her forehead. No, I know. I panicked. You asked why I was upset that night, and I just lied. I lied to cover another lie. And then it got out of control. You weaponized me, I said quietly. You used me to protect the affair. She sobbed harder. I didn't mean to hurt you. I never wanted you to find out. I just wanted both worlds. I know that's awful. I know I'm awful. Her words blurred into a stream of apologies and explanations and half-truths and contradictions. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. I didn't think you'd ever look at my phone. There it was. The real confession. She wasn't sorry she cheated. She was sorry she got caught. Before I could process that, the front door suddenly flew open. It was Riley's mom, Dawn. She must have driven over the second Riley texted her. What is going on here? She demanded. Her eyes flicked from Riley crying on the floor to me holding her phone. Immediately, she rushed to Riley's side, not even glancing in my direction. Oh, for goodness sake, Riley, Dawn said sharply. Get up. Stop crying like a child. Riley sobbed. Mom, please don't. What did you do? Dawn asked, glaring at her, not me. Did you ruin another good thing? Again? Riley collapsed in her mother's arms, sobbing. Dawn sighed, rubbing her temple. You always take things too far. You always get caught. Riley, why do you do this? I blinked. Caught? Do this? Dawn looked at me finally and sighed like she pitied me. Noah, she said, I'm sure we can all move past this. Couples survive worse. I stared at her. Riley froze in her arms. And I realized something horrifying. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a pattern. A family pattern. A legacy. And I was just the next man cleaning up the mess. I took a slow breath. This marriage, I finally said, is over. Riley screamed. Dawn gasped. And the real chaos began. The words, this marriage is over, hit the room like a grenade. Riley's face broke, absolutely shattered, as if I'd cracked her ribs open with my bare hands. Her mom, Dawn, froze mid-breath, her hand still wrapped around Riley's shoulder. For one full second, nobody moved. Then everything exploded. Riley launched forward on her knees, grabbing my pant leg again like it was the last piece of driftwood in a storm. No, Noah, no, please don't say that. You don't mean it. You're just angry. You're hurt. Please take it back. Take it back. Her voice was hoarse, desperate, almost panicked. Dawn stood up straight, hands on her hips, her voice sharp and scolding. Noah, don't be dramatic. Couples fight. Riley makes mistakes. She always has. You knew what you were marrying. My heart actually stuttered. I whispered, excuse me. Dawn rolled her eyes like I was the one being unreasonable. Oh, don't be naive, she said. Riley is emotional. Impulsive. She seeks excitement. She always has. Walt, and I tried to warn you early on. You're a nice man, but you're very routine. Talking about divorcing over one mistake is absurd. One. I repeated. Riley squeezed her eyes shut. Dawn sighed heavily, clearly annoyed. I told you to be more discreet, Riley. Riley flinched so violently she almost fell over. I stepped back. More? Discreet. Those words echoed in my skull. I stared at Dawn. How many affairs has your daughter had? Riley grabbed my leg tighter, sobbing. Mom, stop. Please stop. Dawn hesitated, then said something that made my blood run cold. She doesn't mean to hurt people. She just gets caught up in things. Caught up in things. Things. Plural. Riley let out a cry so raw it barely sounded human. No. No, Noah. Please. She doesn't know what she's talking about. It was just Chase. I swear, just him. I held up her phone. That's not what these messages say. Riley started shaking uncontrollably. Dawn cleared her throat and muttered. Well, you didn't need to go looking. My jaw dropped. She was blaming me. Meanwhile, Riley was melting into a puddle of panic. I swear it was only him, she cried. The messages you're seeing. Those guys, they were just flirting years ago, before we got married. I didn't do anything with them. I swear. She was talking too fast, too chaotically, contradicting herself with every breath. I turned to her. Years ago, she blinked, froze, then realized what she'd admitted. No. I mean, not years, just a little bit. It was before therapy. Well, not therapy. I mean, before we got engaged. Her face fell. Hard. She knew she'd messed up. She backtracked instantly. No. Please, I didn't mean that. I'm confused, Noah. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm mixing things up. I swear I didn't cheat before the wedding. I swear. It was just talking. I was insecure. I was lonely. I regretted it. I stopped. Please believe me. She grabbed my hands and kissed them over and over, tears dripping onto my skin. Noah, I love you. I love you so much. I chose you. I married you. I made vows. You broke them, I said. She sobbed harder. And then her dad, Walt, walked in. Quiet, reserved Walt, who always avoided conflict. Looked like he'd walked into a burning building. What on earth is happening? He whispered. Dawn immediately pointed at me. Noah is threatening divorce. Walt blinked. Why? I simply handed him the phone. He scrolled for maybe 10 seconds and exhaled like he'd been punched. Oh, Riley, he whispered, shaking his head. Not again. Again. Riley collapsed completely. Stop it, she screamed. Stop. Stop saying that. She buried her face in the carpet, sobbing so loudly Luna ran to the bedroom to hide. Walt sat on the couch, exhausted, rubbing his forehead. Sweetheart, he said softly. You promised us you got better. My entire body went rigid. Better. I repeated. Better. Dawn jumped in defensively. She struggled in the past, she said. She had attachment issues. But she went to counseling. We thought she was stable. Riley screamed again, pulling her hair, shaking her head violently. No. No, I don't have issues. I don't. I'm fine. Mom, stop. Dad, stop. Please, Noah, don't listen to them. Walt looked at me helplessly. She cheated on her high school boyfriend. And her college one. The fiancé before you. Riley let out a guttural cry. No. Dad, please stop. Dawn sighed dramatically. Riley has always been dramatic about relationships. She chases what feels exciting. But she always comes home. Always comes home. Like she was a cat that wandered and returned whenever she felt like it. Riley was inconsolable now, thrashing, begging, sobbing, grabbing at my leg again. I'll change. I swear. I'll change. I'll do therapy. Real therapy. Weekly, daily. Anything you want. Just please don't leave. Noah, don't leave me. Please. I love you. I swear I love you. You're the best thing in my life. Don't give up on me. Don't give up. I pulled my leg away. She screamed like I'd stabbed her. Noah, no, please, don't. I took a long breath. Riley, I said softly, you didn't just cheat. You built a life on lies. You let me write an HR complaint against the man you were seeing. You let your family hide your patterns. You made me believe I was safe with you. Her entire body shook. And I wasn't. I finished. Riley collapsed in her mother's lap, hysterical. Dawn patted her hair, glaring at me like I was the villain. Walt looked defeated. I felt numb. Completely, totally numb. And that numbness was the first moment of clarity I'd felt in months. Because staying would destroy me. Staying would train Riley that I would tolerate anything. Staying would teach her family that I was weak. And I wasn't weak. I was finally awake. I picked up my coat, my keys, and walked toward the door. Behind me, Riley screamed so loudly the windows rattled. Noah, please, don't walk out. Please. I won't survive this. I swear. I'll die if you leave. Noah, no, no, no. But I walked out anyway. And as the door closed behind me, her voice broke into a sound I'll never forget. A sound of a person realizing she lost the one man who ever truly loved her. And the next chapter, my revenge, was just beginning. When I walked out of that house, Riley's screams echoing behind me, I didn't feel liberated or triumphant. I felt hollow, like someone had carved out my insides and left a walking shell behind. But somewhere deep under that numbness, a quiet voice whispered, "You weren't the villain. You were the last honest person in that house." I got in my car, locked the doors, sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Her family could pretend this was normal. They could call it emotional impulsiveness or seeking excitement. They could label me dramatic or sensitive or unreasonable. But the truth? I was the only one refusing to normalize betrayal. I turned the key and drove. The next morning, the fallout begins. I woke up early at my friend Lucas's place. He offered his guest room for a few nights. Lucas is one of those brutally honest, loyal to the core types. When I told him everything, including Riley's meltdown, her mother's defense of her cheating, and the 9-month affair, he didn't even try to soften it. He just said, "Noah, she didn't break your heart. She broke her character." That line has lived in my head ever since. But the chaos wasn't over. At 9:12 a.m., my phone blew up with messages. 32 missed calls, 13 voicemails, 41 texts. Most were from Riley. "I'm sorry, please come home, I'm begging you. I love you, I was stupid, I didn't mean any of it. Please answer, I can't breathe. You're my husband. Please don't throw us away. If you don't respond, I'll assume you don't care about me at all." Then messages from Dawn. "Noah, you need to stop being emotional and talk to your wife. It's disrespectful to leave her like this. Marriage is difficult. Riley is going through a phase. Fix this. Her dad, Walt. I'm sorry about last night. Riley needs help. If you can, please talk to her. Her brother, Carson. Dude, it's not that serious. Everyone cheats at some point." That one made me laugh out loud. I blocked him instantly. But the strangest message came from Chase's wife, Emily. "Noah, I got your number from HR. Can we talk? Please." My blood turned cold. Meeting Emily, the truth gets worse. We met at a cafe near her workplace. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hands shaking around a coffee cup. "Thank you for meeting with me," she said quietly. "I know this is awful." I nodded. "I know." She took a deep breath. "Chase has been cheating on me for 2 years. 2 years. With multiple women," she continued. "I thought Riley was just another mistake. But last night, when he came home and saw your HR email, everything unraveled." My stomach twisted. "What did he say?" I asked. Emily's jaw tightened. "He said your wife isn't the only one you need to worry about." I blinked. "What does that mean?" She swallowed. "He said Riley wasn't just cheating on you with him. He said she had others. He wouldn't tell me names. But he said she's been lying to you for a long time." I felt the ground tilt. Emily wiped tears with a trembling hand. HR is launching a full investigation. Chase is suspended. Riley is on leave pending review. It's going to come out publicly. A part of me felt sick. Another part whispered, "Justice." As we left the cafe, Emily touched my arm. "You're a good man," she said. "Don't let this destroy you. Let it free you." Then she walked away. The revenge phase, unplanned, but unavoidable. I didn't set out to ruin Riley's career, or her affair partner's marriage, or expose everything. But the truth has a way of pulling its own strings. At noon, HR called me. "Mr. Fowler, thank you for your anonymous submission. It has brought to light a significant misconduct case." Anonymous. I hadn't told them my name. Riley must have panicked and pointed fingers hoping to save herself. The HR rep continued. There are multiple complaints now. Several employees are speaking up. This may lead to terminations. Several. Not just Riley and Chase. The entire office had rot under the surface, and Riley was right in the middle of it. Going home for the last time. That evening, I went back to the house, only to get my essentials. When I walked in, Riley was sitting on the floor by the door, hair messy, eyes swollen, mascara running down her cheeks. When she saw me, she gasped like she'd been underwater for hours. "Noah. Oh, thank God. Please, please don't leave. Please, just talk to me, please." She crawled toward me on her hands and knees, grabbing my pant leg again, clinging like her life depended on it. "I'll do therapy. I'll quit my job. I'll delete social media. I'll change my number. I'll give you every password. I'll do anything. Just don't divorce me." Her words blurred together, desperate and breathless. She was crying so hard she hiccuped. I stepped away. She collapsed forward, hands slapping the floor. "Noah, please. I'm begging you. I'm begging. Don't leave me alone. Don't throw me away. Don't let this be the end. Please, please, please." "Riley," I said quietly, "I'm not throwing away anything." She looked up, confused, hopeful. I finished. "You threw it away 9 months ago." She broke, completely. Screams, sobs, begging, crawling, shaking. Her mom wasn't there to minimize anything anymore. Her dad wasn't there to sigh and look disappointed. It was just Riley, and the consequences she never thought would come. I packed a bag, ignored her pleas, walked out calmly. She grabbed the door frame, sobbing. "Noah, no, please, please don't go. Please, I can't do this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, please." The last thing I saw was her collapsing against the wall, hands covering her face, crying harder than I'd ever seen in my life. But I still walked away, because saving her was never my job. Saving myself was. I didn't sleep for 2 nights. Not because I missed Riley, though the silence of Lucas's guest room did feel eerily empty, but because the shock was wearing off, and the emotional bruises underneath were starting to ache. Everyone talks about anger. Everyone talks about heartbreak. But nobody talks about that strange numbness that hits in waves. The kind that makes you stare at ceilings and wonder how your life collapsed between one phone buzz and one confrontation. On day 3, everything changed. Because the consequences Riley never expected finally arrived. The call from HR, the domino falling. At 10:42 a.m., my phone lit up with a number I didn't recognize. "Hello, Mr. Fowler? This is Sandra from corporate HR." My stomach tightened. "I'm reaching out because your anonymous complaint has opened a significant investigation." I didn't say anything. She continued. "We reviewed the evidence Riley provided, as well as evidence from others." Others. Plural. "She will be terminated," Sandra said plainly. "Effective immediately." I exhaled slowly. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel victorious. Just hollow. Like watching a building fall that I didn't set on fire. Then Sandra added, "As for Chase, the legal team is handling that." Legal, not HR. Which meant this wasn't small. Which meant Riley wasn't the only one. I hung up and sat in silence. Lucas walked into the room holding 2 coffees. "What's wrong?" he asked. I didn't sugarcoat it. They fired her. He handed me a coffee and shrugged. She fired herself. Don't carry her bullet wounds. Riley's call, the spiral. At 11:06 a.m., Riley called. I let it ring. She called again. And again. Finally, a voicemail buzzed through. Her voice was frantic, breathless. "Noah, please, please answer. I got fired. They said it was gross misconduct. Everyone knows. My coworkers won't talk to me. Chase's wife came to the office. I'm humiliated. Please pick up. I need you. Please, Noah. Please. I can't breathe. I can't." She started crying so hard she couldn't finish. I deleted the voicemail. Not out of cruelty. Out of self-preservation. I finally told my parents what happened. My mom, Linda, cried when I finished explaining everything. Not because of the cheating, but because she had always suspected Riley wasn't honest with me. "I'm so sorry, honey," she whispered. "I warned you she had secrets, but I never imagined it was this bad." My dad, Mark, isn't emotional. He's the kind of man who rarely raises his voice. But when he heard Riley weaponized me into filing the HR complaint, his jaw clenched. I don't ever want that woman in this house again. That hit me harder than anything Riley ever said. Because my dad doesn't hate people. Ever. He just hates cruelty. That afternoon, I got 3 calls from her mother, Dawn. I let them ring. Then she texted, "Noah, it is imperative you call Riley. She is not stable. You are abandoning her during a crisis. This reflects very poorly on you." Not stable. The woman who told her daughter to be more discreet during an affair was suddenly worried about stability. Then her dad, Walt. "She's very upset. Please talk to her. Even if you're leaving, don't leave her alone." Even Walt, who rarely expressed anything, sounded worried. Then, Carson, her brother. "Bro, chill. You overreacted. Everyone cheats. You're ruining her life over nothing." Blocked. Immediately. And then came the strangest message. "Unknown number. I'm one of Riley's co-workers. You don't know me. I just want you to know you did the right thing. Chase was a predator. Riley wasn't the only one. Take care of yourself." That message said more about the office culture than anything Riley ever confessed. At 8 p.m. that night, Lucas knocked on the guest room door. He looked uneasy. Noah? She's here." My stomach dropped. I stepped into the hallway. Riley was standing by the front door, soaked from the rain, eyes red, hair plastered to her face. She looked like she had run the entire way. "Noah," she whispered, voice trembling. "Please don't shut me out." Lucas stepped aside, arms crossed, watching her like she was radioactive. Riley stepped toward me slowly, hands shaking. "Noah, I lost everything today. My job, my reputation, my friends, everything. I don't have anyone to talk to except you. Please, please don't let me drown alone." She got on her knees, right there on Lucas's entryway, hands clasped like she was praying. "Noah," she sobbed, "I'm not asking you to stay married. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking to not be alone tonight. Please." Her voice broke so violently it hurt to hear. I knelt down, not to comfort her, but so she'd look me in the eyes. "Riley," I said quietly, "you weren't alone when you made these choices. You weren't alone when you lied. You weren't alone when you betrayed us." Her breath hitched. "And you're not alone now," I added. "You have your family. You have resources. You have the consequences you created." She stared at me, stunned. Then her face crumpled, and she whispered, "So this is it." I nodded. "This is it." She let out a small, broken whimper. Then she stood, slowly, shakily, and whispered, "I will love you for the rest of my life, Noah, even if you hate me." "I don't hate you," I said, "but I can't save you." She flinched, deeply. Then she walked out the door without another word. And when it closed, I exhaled for the first time all day. This wasn't the end. This was the turning point. Because what came next was when I finally stopped surviving and started living. The night after Riley showed up at Lucas's house was the first time in months I slept more than 2 hours. Not because I felt good, far from it, but because exhaustion finally took over. The kind of exhaustion that feels like someone unplugged your soul. When I woke up the next morning, my phone was surprisingly quiet. No calls, no voicemails, no desperate texts, just silence. And silence, for the first time, felt like a blessing. My first day free, and the guilt that followed. Lucas handed me coffee and said, "You look like someone removed a curse." I gave a humorless laugh. Feels like it. But the guilt came in waves. Not guilt for leaving her. Not guilt for exposing the affair. Guilt because for the first time, I felt relief. Relief she was gone. Relief I didn't have to walk on eggshells. Relief I didn't have to wonder about late nights, secret messages, sudden perfume, unexplained showers, or the way she said "my boss" with that little spark in her eyes. Relief that it was over. But guilt is weird, because even when betrayal breaks you, you still mourn what you thought you had. And I mourned the version of Riley I fell in love with, the one that probably never existed. My mother's reaction, a moment that broke me. That evening, my mom, Linda, called again. She spoke softly, like she was handling glass. "Noah, honey, I'm proud of you." I didn't expect that. I didn't even realize how much I needed to hear it. "You didn't deserve this," she said. "You gave her stability. You gave her kindness. You gave her loyalty. And she didn't protect any of it." I swallowed hard. My voice cracked for the first time since everything fell apart. Why wasn't I enough? Her answer was immediate. "Oh, sweetheart, you were more than enough." She was simply less than honest. I felt tears in my eyes, the quiet, heavy kind you can't blink away. My dad, Mark, got on the phone. "Noah," he said in his steady voice. A partner's job is to build with you, not break you. She broke you. Walking away is strength, not failure. That did it. I cried. The kind of cry that shakes your whole rib cage. The kind you don't realize you've been holding in for months, maybe years. Lucas quietly set a box of tissues on the table and pretended not to notice. Good friends know when silence is better than words. The message I didn't expect, from Chase himself. Around 9 p.m., I got a text from an unknown number. This is Chase. We need to talk. I stared at it, stunned. He had the nerve. I ignored it. He texted again. It wasn't what she told you. Unbelievable. Another text. I'm willing to explain my side. Man to man. I blocked his number without a second thought. If Riley wanted closure with him, she could choke on it. I wasn't interested in negotiating with the man who helped burn my life down. The group chat meltdown, Riley's friends turn on her. Later that night, I got a message from Riley's former coworker, one who had reached out earlier. She sent screenshots from a group chat Riley was in. Her friends were ripping her apart. Can't believe you dragged us into this mess. You lied to all of us. You said Noah was controlling. Guess that was a lie too. You brought down the whole team. Don't ask us for references. Riley replied only once. I didn't expect to lose everyone. One friend responded. You didn't lose us. You pushed us away. It was harsh, cruel even. But betrayal leaves fallout, and Riley was experiencing the collision of every bad choice she ever made. I felt conflicted. She'd caused the damage. But watching her world collapse still felt sad in a distant, detached way, like watching a stranger suffer on TV. Because that's who Riley was now. A stranger wearing the memories of someone I once loved. The divorce papers, the final line drawn. The next morning, I met with a lawyer. She was efficient, sharp, and painfully direct. No kids. No joint accounts. No shared investments besides the mortgage. I nodded. This will be easy, then, she said. Easy. I never thought divorce would be described as easy. But compared to the chaos Riley brought, it was. Legally ending things took about half an hour. Emotionally, it felt like cutting a cord that had been strangling me. Riley's final message, the one that broke me the most. That afternoon, she sent me one last text. I understand now that losing you is the consequence I earned. I hope someday you heal from the damage I caused. And I hope even more that someday I do too. Goodbye, Noah. No begging. No guilt tripping. No lies. Just resignation. And somehow, that message hurt more than all her screaming and sobbing. Because it was the first honest thing she'd said in months. That evening, Lucas walked into the living room and tossed something into my lap. A brochure. For a 10-day hiking retreat in Colorado. Go, he said. Get out of here. Breathe actual air. Reset your brain. I stared at it. Beautiful mountains. Blue skies. Cabins. A note. No phones allowed. For the first time since this nightmare began, I smiled. A real one. Small. Quiet. But real. Because maybe, just maybe, my life wasn't falling apart. It was falling into place. Part 8 is ready when you are. This is the chapter where Noah begins rebuilding himself, discovering a new passion, and finally stepping into a life that's his again. I booked the Colorado trip. Not impulsively, not dramatically. I just clicked confirm one evening while sipping lukewarm coffee in Lucas's guest room and thinking, I don't want my last chapter to be written by betrayal. 2 days later, I was on a plane, backpack under the seat, heart somewhere between grief and relief. I hadn't felt sunlight on my skin in weeks, and I swear the moment I stepped out of the Denver airport, the air hit different. Crisp, quiet, clean, like the universe saying, sit, breathe, heal. The retreat was tucked deep into the Rockies, wooden cabins, pine trees that smelled like Christmas, and mountains so huge they made every human problem feel embarrassingly small. Phones were allowed only in emergencies. Social media was forbidden. Everyone had a reason for being there. A woman healing from burnout. A man recovering from a long illness. A divorced couple trying to co-parent without hating each other. And then there was me. The guy whose wife used him as an alibi for her affair. Our guide, Mara, looked like she was carved out of mountain stone, calm, grounded, with those eyes that look straight through you. On the first day, she had us sit around a fire pit and share why we came. When it was my turn, I cleared my throat. I'm here because I forgot who I was before everything broke. Simple. True. Mara nodded like she understood every word. On day 3, we hiked up a ridge overlooking a valley that stretched forever. At the top, Mara handed each of us a blank sheet of paper. Write a letter, she said, to whoever you need to talk to. It can be a goodbye, an apology, or something you wish you had said. I stared at the paper for a long time. Who was I supposed to write to? Riley? My past self? The man I thought I was? Eventually, my pen started moving. And this spilled out. You were good. You were patient. You were loyal. And none of that made her betrayal your fault. Stop punishing yourself for loving someone who didn't know how to love you back. I realized halfway through that the letter wasn't for Riley. It was for me. We folded the letters and dropped them into a metal box. Mara lit the contents with a match. The flames ate the paper, sparks drifting upward like tiny pieces of everything I'd carried for too long. I didn't cry, but for the first time, my chest felt lighter. On day 5, during a steep climb, I lagged behind. Not physically, emotionally. My mind kept drifting back to the moments I'd caught Riley's lies, her pleas, her panic. A woman from the retreat, Sienna, slowed down to match my pace. You look like you're carrying a whole house on your back, she said gently. I let out a breathy laugh. Just a marriage. She looked at me quietly, not pitying, just understanding. She finally said, people who lie that deeply, they always leave the other person wondering what they did wrong. She paused. But you didn't cause her choices. It was simple, but it pierced through every layer of self-blame I still carried. We walked in silence for a while. The good kind of silence. On the final night, we sat around another fire, stars scattered across the sky, like someone spilled glitter over black velvet. Mara handed each of us a small smooth stone. This represents the weight you carried here, she said. You'll throw it into the river tomorrow morning. When you do, you'll leave behind whatever no longer serves you. I held that stone all night. It wasn't heavy, but the meaning behind it was crushing. The next morning, we reached the river, a fast, cold stream rushing over polished rocks. Everyone stepped forward one by one, tossing their stones with whispered goodbyes. When it was my turn, I closed my eyes. I pictured Riley kneeling on the floor, crying and begging. I pictured her messages with Chase. I pictured the lies, the manipulation, the rewriting of history. I pictured myself realizing I wasn't enough for someone who didn't value honesty. Then I whispered, you don't get to define me anymore. And I threw the stone. It vanished instantly into the rush of water. And something inside me finally loosened, like a knot I didn't know I'd been tightening for years. I returned home with clearer lungs, clearer mind, and the kind of peace that doesn't come easy. When I stepped into Lucas's living room, my phone buzzed back to life with notifications. But I didn't check them yet. Instead, I unpacked, showered, made myself a simple dinner, and sat on the couch in warm silence. Only then did I turn on my phone. There were messages from my mom. Proud of you, honey red heart. Emily, Chase's wife, he moved out. Thank you for your honesty. Co-workers wishing me well. Unknown numbers I didn't care to open. But one message caught my eye. From Riley. A single sentence. I hope you found peace. I'm trying to. For the first time, it didn't hurt. It didn't sting. It didn't make me angry. It felt like closure. Not because she offered it, but because I no longer needed anything from her. Coming back from Colorado felt like stepping into a new body. No chaos. No crying. No guilt-tripping messages. No shadow of Riley's betrayal clinging to my skin. Just quiet. And for the first time in months, the quiet didn't feel like loneliness. It felt like space. Space to breathe. Space to think. Space to actually exist without someone else's drama swallowing me whole. I moved out of Lucas's place and into a small, sunlit one-bedroom with hardwood floors and a balcony that overlooked a tiny courtyard garden. Nothing fancy, but it felt like mine. I bought new furniture, simple, modern, nothing Riley had ever touched or criticized. A new bed, new dishes, plants, a bookshelf I built myself. It wasn't about replacing her. It was about removing every last trace of the sickness that had infected my old life. On the first morning waking up there, I made coffee, opened the balcony door, and just stood, listening to birds, feeling sunlight on my face. No anxiety, no checking her location, no wondering who she was really with, no dread, just coffee and air. It felt like heaven. During the retreat, a few people had taken photos, mountains, sunrises, wildlife. One night around the fire, Sienna handed me her camera and said, "Take a photo of the group." I snapped one, then another, and another. She smiled. "You've got the eye for it." I didn't think much of it. Until one day after moving into my apartment, I walked past a camera shop and felt something tug me inside. I bought a mid-range DSLR. At first, I didn't know what I was doing. Everything was blurry. My hands were shaky. But then I watched tutorials, read guides, practiced at sunset. And suddenly, it clicked. Photography became the thing that didn't judge me, didn't lie, didn't cheat, didn't ask anything of me except attention. I joined a local photography group. We went on weekend hikes and city walks, took photos of anything that caught our eye. Old buildings, street lights, landscapes, strangers laughing. Every time I pressed the shutter, it felt like reclaiming a tiny piece of myself. It felt like being present again. Through the photography group, I met people I never would have crossed paths with otherwise. Jamie, a former nurse discovering life after burnout. Eli, a quiet guy who used photography to manage anxiety. Marissa, a mom who left a toxic marriage and was rediscovering joy. We'd grab tacos after our shoots, talk about everything: grief, recovery, new starts. No judgment, no expectations, just honesty. One night, Eli said, "You seem lighter now than when we met." That stuck with me, because he was right. Even though we were separated and the divorce was processing, Riley's presence still lingered in weird ways. Her dad texted me sometimes, apologies, updates about her therapy, quiet concerns about her mental health. Her mom sent passive-aggressive messages I didn't read. Her brother tried calling once. I blocked him again. But Riley didn't contact me. Not once. No begging. No guilt trips. No desperate calls. Just silence. It was strange, but it also felt like closure. Like she'd finally accepted reality. I hoped, for her sake, she really was getting help. But she wasn't my responsibility anymore. One Sunday morning, I was editing photos at a cafe. Sunlight streaming in through the window. Warm coffee in my hand. Calm music playing softly. A girl at the next table kept glancing at me. Finally, she spoke. "Sorry, but are you Noah?" I froze. I didn't recognize her. She smiled nervously. "I'm Kelly. I used to work at Riley's company. Not with her, but on another floor." My stomach tightened. Kelly seemed to sense it. "No, don't worry," she said quickly. "This isn't drama. I just wanted to tell you something." I nodded cautiously. She continued softly. "I wanted to say you did the right thing. Chase was a problem. HR covered for him for years. And Riley, she wasn't the only one he put in compromising situations." My chest tightened. Kelly sighed, eyes soft. "What you did? Reporting him? Walking away from the toxicity? Protecting yourself? That wasn't revenge. That was courage. I hope you don't feel guilty for a second." I exhaled slowly. "I don't feel guilty," I said. "Just sad that it had to happen at all." She smiled. "Sad means you're still human." She left after that, but her words hung in my mind the rest of the day. The moment I realized I was healing. That night, I looked through my photo files. Sunsets, lakes, people smiling, city reflections, a butterfly perched on a railing, a rusty mailbox with peeling paint, a man and his dog walking through a park. All tiny pieces of the world that I'd been too broken to see for a long time. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't rebuilding myself. I was finally discovering who I actually was. Not the version molded to make Riley happy. Not the man bending over backwards to prevent her from feeling bored. Not the stable rock she used while chasing excitement elsewhere. Just Noah. Just me. And I liked him. 3 months after I left Riley, the divorce papers were ready. Neatly printed, legally binding, and completely emotionless. Everything our marriage hadn't been. I went to the courthouse alone. No crying. No panic. No shaking hands. Just quiet acceptance. When the clerk stamped the final page, it didn't feel like a failure. It felt like an exhale I'd been holding for years. A release. A reset. A beginning. The last conversation, the real goodbye. A week later, Riley asked for one final talk for closure. She asked politely, respectfully. No begging. No theatrics. So I agreed. We met at a small park near the old house. She looked different, not glamorous, not polished, just tired. Humble. Human. "Noah," she said softly, "I owe you real honesty. For once." I braced myself. She took a deep breath. "I know I hurt you. I know I lied to you. I know I broke something good and rare. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. Her voice trembled, but she stayed composed. I'm in therapy, real therapy, and I'm learning that what I did wasn't just a mistake. It was a pattern, a sickness, something I've ignored for years because lying was easier than facing myself. I didn't interrupt. She looked up at me, eyes glassy but calm. You were the one person who made me feel safe. And I ruined everything because I didn't know how to handle safety. I didn't think I deserved it. My chest tightened, not out of pity, but out of recognition. You deserved honesty, she whispered. And I couldn't give it. I'm sorry, Noah. Truly. For the first time since the affair, her apology felt real. I nodded. I appreciate you saying that, I said. And I hope you keep getting help. She smiled softly. Sadly, I will, she said. Not for you. Not for anyone else. For me. We stood, and she extended her hand. I shook it. No tears. No begging. No dramatic final plea. Just two people acknowledging an ending. She walked away first. I watched her go, not with longing, but with closure. A chapter finished. A book ended. I turned and walked the other direction, feeling lighter with every step. The twist I didn't expect. Life moves forward. 2 weeks later, my photography instructor invited me to join a local gallery showcase. Small, casual, nothing fancy, but he said my nature shots had soul. I laughed. Me? Gallery material? But I showed up anyway. And walking into that little room filled with warm lights and framed prints, seeing people lean in to look at something I made, something born from pain, healing, and rediscovering beauty. It hit me. I wasn't just recovering. I was living, building, growing. Parts of me that never existed during my marriage were finally waking up. Confidence, creativity, joy, self-worth that didn't depend on anyone else's attention. I was finally, fully myself. A message from someone unexpected. At the gallery, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned, expecting another attendee. Instead, it was Emily, Chase's ex-wife. She smiled gently. I saw your name on the flyer. Thought I'd stop by. I didn't feel the bitterness I once did. Instead, I felt a strange solidarity. Two people who survived the same storm. We talked for a while. Nothing romantic, nothing forced. Just two people grateful for a fresh start. Before she left, she said, "My therapist says some endings are actually escapes in disguise." I couldn't help but smile. She wasn't wrong. The conclusion, what I learned, and what I want anyone reading this to know. If you're reading this and you're stuck in a nightmare, betrayal, lies, manipulation, heartbreak, here's what I learned the hard way. 1. You can be the best partner in the world and still be betrayed. That doesn't make you unworthy. It makes the other person unprepared. 2. You can't love someone into honesty. You can't sacrifice yourself into trust. You can't fix what someone refuses to face. 3. Leaving isn't failure. It's self-respect. It's survival. It's choosing peace over chaos. 4. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel free. Some days you'll feel broken. Both are normal. Both fade. 5. Eventually, the day will come when you look back and realize the worst moment of your life was also the door to your best one. My story didn't end with revenge, or reconciliation, or regret. It ended with me rediscovering the person I was before the lies, and becoming someone even better. Someone honest, someone fulfilled, someone whole. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up,